What's up everyone? Welcome to whitsWIT. My name is Whitney and I'm your favorite DIY hair girly because we got hair at home. Today I'm taking you along with me as I style this gorgeous hair in a half up, half down sew-in. I am feeling a little lighter now that the warmer weather has arrived here in Texas, so I decided to switch my style up to usher me into spring. As for actually styling the bundles, I didn't do too much because I wanted the natural texture of the hair to really shine. I did use 2-ish bundles of curly hair and 1-ish bundle of wavy hair. I say ish because this hair has been used at least twice before, and with every style I always go in and add some kind of layering, so I'm cutting up the bundles a little bit. And of course over time you're gonna start to lose hair just as you are cutting it into different styles, so that's why I say ish. The hair is still beautiful, it's still intact, and it worked out perfectly for this style. Just wanted to throw that out there. So jumping right in, we are starting off with our anchor braids. I am doing one on the left side and then going all the way down and across the back of my head. And then I'll do one down the right side and connect it with the one that we just did. And this is what we get from that. The anchor braid is really the only braid that I care about being nice and neat and firm, because that's what we're gonna attach our net to. Once we have our anchor braid knocked out, we are gonna go in and just braid the rest of our hair. Any hair that I have hanging, I do flip it up into the next braid. Doesn't need to be super tight or anything like that. Remember, you're still gonna sew on top of it and you don't want it to become unbearably tight once you start sewing. So just make sure that the braids are kind of firm, they're stable, but not overly tight, because we are still gonna go and sew on top of those. For my last braid, I am gonna add in the 2 previous braids on either side and then just braid that all the way down. Once that braid is completed, we'll use our crochet needle to hook it into another braid to make sure that everything can lay nice and flat and out of the way. So this is what our completed braids look like. Nothing fancy, but it is gonna get the job done. So after that, we can move on to our net. I know there are a few different net options at the beauty supply. I always opt for the net that is by itself, like not on a cap or anything. And then it does come in a pack of 2. It has a net with smaller holes and then a net with larger holes. I always use the one with the larger holes. To me, the smaller one just gets too complex when you're trying to do your own hair. You already can't see back there, so don't make it harder on yourself by using the one with the smaller holes. For the net, I am just sewing it all the way around my anchor braids. And if this is a step that you struggle with, something that I found that really helped me was using some bobby pins to hold the net in place for me. So I placed them evenly on either side and also around the back. And then as I approach the bobby pin, I'll pull it out, right? Because then I don't need it anymore. And that's the easiest way for me to sew your own net on, is to use, the help of bobby pins. So you see me doing that here. And then once we are done sewing our net all the way around, we'll go in and cut off the excess. Be super careful here. You could very easily cut your braid, cut a little part of that kitchen. So yeah, just go slow here cutting, and use a mirror if you have to. I've done this enough that I don't really need a mirror. I've also done this enough to have cut my own hair. So advice from a good place. And that is a completed look of our braids and our net. And now we get to move on to our sew-in. Like I said, I'm using 3 bundles total, all of them a little bit incomplete just because they've been used previously and they've been layered in different styles. But look how pretty this hair is. Still so gorgeous after heat, after being cut, after being washed over and over again. The hair is still so pretty. So like I said, I am using 1 curly bundle and 1 wavy bundle, and I decided to stretch them all the way out and double them. So a lot of times you'll see people doubling 1 single weft and then sewing it, but I'm actually doubling 2 different wefts, 1 curly, 1 wavy. So I have the curly on top and the wavy on bottom, and then I'm gonna sew them in that way. And then I'm also gonna be using the flip over method. Instead of like cutting my tracks or anything like that, I'm just gonna flip them over. That way, 1 row going across, you have the curly hair on top, and then once I flip it over, for the next row, I'll have the wavy hair on top, and then once I flip it again, the curly will be on top. and so on and so forth. I did it this way because I really wanted the texture of the curly hair, but I hate how the curly hair clumps together, like the curls will clump together over time. Some people like it, some people think it's really pretty, but for me, like I said, y'all, I loved a messier, kind of lived in type of look. So that's why I opted to layer the bundles, hoping that the wavy hair will kind of impede on the curly hair clumping together, which, look at this, so pretty. Oh my gosh, I'm obsessed with how this looked. It was so pretty. And then I didn't, you guys can't really see it, but I didn't have any leave out whatsoever. I just sewed all the way across the top. And then it doesn't matter because by the time we place our ponytail and the volume from the ponytail, it's gonna cover up all those tracks anyway. So no worries there. But again, look how pretty this hair is. Oh my gosh, obsessed with it. It is just so perfect, so perfect. All right, so now we're gonna be moving on to the top. I am just laying out some little tiny, what do I call them, short hairs. I'm nervous to call them baby hairs because the way the girls be eating up the baby hairs, but I like me a swoop, so I'm gonna keep doing it. I left out some short hairs, and then I am just putting some Lotta Body foam on here. I don't intend on straightening or putting any heat to these short hairs, so I am using the foam to help lay them down, kind of straighten them out. Once I do all that, I'm gonna wrap it up nice and tight. That way they can lay flat by the time they are dry, and then I can just go in and swoop them down. Once we have that part done, we are gonna go in and lightly press our hair. Because this is gonna be in a ponytail anyway, you don't need to do a super silk press or anything like that. In fact, for this, I ended up turning my flat iron down to 400 because I don't need that high heat of 450. If I was doing a silk press, then yeah, I would do high heat on 450. But we don't need that much heat, especially because we're gonna be slicking it into a ponytail. So we just need it, you know, mostly straight and not silk. So after I'm done straightening everything, I am gonna start molding my ponytail. A lot of people use different things here. For me, I used a little bit of beeswax from Ampro, which that one is a bit lighter. If you have experience with the Murray's beeswax, that one is super sticky, it's super thick. The one from Ampro is a bit lighter and is not so sticky, which for me is easier to wash out, so I decided to go with that one. If you want a super mega hold, I would definitely go with the beeswax from Murray's. It is the yellow one, not any of the edge stick, edge control, none of that stuff. It comes in a little yellow jar. There's also a black one, but the yellow one is my favorite. I would use that if I wanted a super hold, but I don't. I'm gonna be taking this hair down in a few days anyway, so no need for all that. So yeah, we slicked it all down. We put some Got To Be on there and then used an edge brush to really just mold everything in place. I'll say for the details of this hairstyle, it's important that you really take your time to slick every piece of hair in the front with your hairspray and also the edge brush. For any hairstyle, it's really the details that set you apart from, oh yeah, she must have did her own hair, to, oh my God, girl, who did your hair? Details, ladies, always, always, always. Never count the details out. Greatness is found in the details. I had an old manager tell me that all the time. So anyway, moving right along, we put our hair in a ponytail, we braid it down, and then we make just a small little bun with that. And then I'm taking a bobby pin and sticking it through the little braided bun that I did. For me, I always have to flip my head upside down to get this part even remotely close to being right. I don't know how people do it with their head up. So I flip my head over, I get that wrapped around nice and neat. And then to end it, you can always glue that last little section of track down. But for me, I just take the remaining hair and I'll wrap it around a bunch of times and really until it disappears. And then that's good enough for me. So now we're taking our scarf off and just making sure that everything is gonna look right. And then this is my little secret that I'm sharing with you guys. I use braid hair to cover up the remaining weft of the ponytail. So I have this braid hair, I put a little rubber band on it, and then I put some cheese serum on there, and now I'm just blow drying it. make sure you blow dry it on medium heat. Here's me scared thinking I'd have melted the hair, and I didn't because I had my blow dryer on high. But definitely use medium heat, and then just brush through it a few times, add some tension with a little comb or brush, whatever you have, and then it just sleeks the hair out a little bit so that it matches the texture closer. So you guys can see, you might need to rewind to watch how the texture changed on the hair. But yeah, like I said, it's the details. Excellence is found in the details. So definitely a step I recommend. Once I'm done, I just attach the braiding hair to my ponytail with the rubber band that we had put on there. And then once everything is in place, we can start wrapping the hair around to cover the weft left on top. So just wrapping around, I will say when you do your ponytail, before you start wrapping the hair, just brush it into place. Make sure everything is laying in the direction you want it to. That's another detail step that really matters before you put the braiding hair on there and kind of seal everything off. I used to get so frustrated with this style because my hair in the ponytail would never sit how I wanted it to, and it's because I wasn't placing it before actually securing it. So now I have the braiding hair in place. I'm just adding a bit more hairspray and then using my rat tail comb to tuck in any little hair that may have come out of place. I use my got2b and blow dryer to seal everything nice and neat. And there you are, it looks beautiful. We still have our pretty texture going on, which is what I wanted y'all to see right here. And then I'm also trying to decide how short I'm gonna cut the ponytail, like where I want that fluff of the ponytail to land. So now I'm just brushing this hair out a little bit so that I can kind of see a little clearer. And then we'll go in and start trimming up our ponytail in just a second. So I'm cutting off this is probably like 1.5 inches of hair because I wanted it to fall a little bit shorter. I said I wanted the fluff of that ponytail to hit in a certain spot. So that's why I'm trimming it up here. And then once we trim the overall length, we're gonna go in and add some little small layers to the ponytail section. Right now you can see that it's kind of jagged. You can see very clearly where the ponytail ends. But remember, I'm all about looking natural and lived in over here. So we're gonna add some layers to kind of lessen the harshness of that blunt cut that we just did. Overall, y'all, I probably spent about 20 minutes just doing the cut, fluffing, cutting, fluffing, cutting, fluffing. And then I'll show you, I think I show you in these clips, but you can kind of see the difference that just adding a few layers makes. So on this side, I've added a few layers, and then you can kind of see on the other side of my head where that harshness still is. I think I turn around in just a second. So yeah, now you can see blunt cut versus where we actually cut, and you can tell which side just sits a little bit better, right? Just looks better. So just keep cutting and fluffing until it's nice and even and to your liking. And then for the next step, I am going in and swooping my baby hairs. I am just using some random braiding gel that I had. That is like the one thing that works on my hair really well. My edges are stuck to my forehead for right now, but by the time I spray them, tie them up, and then let them dry, they become nice and fluffy, which I like. So I think it matches with the style of the hairstyle. They become fluffy and not, you know, the only thing slicked down, which is my whole aesthetic. So here, just wrapping everything up. I want to protect that ponytail part really well because I am going in now to kind of re-wet the hair and bring back some of the texture, or just really define the texture from where I was running my hands through it and fluffing it a lot. So here I am using an Apogee bottle, but it's just water in here. I had ran out of the conditioner anyway. So it's just water in here that I am spraying all over. You do want this part pretty drenched just so you can go in later with the foaming mousse. I don't think it's mousse, I think it's just foam. Wrapping foam, I think is what it's called, or setting foam. Go in with the setting foam. I use the one from Lotta Body, and then I am using my curl definer brush, taking small sections and then just adding some definition. And then after that, I'm gonna let everything air dry. For the products, this curly section, I don't use any creams, no lotions, no gels, nothing like that. Literally just water and the foaming lotion. And here's the end result. I love this hair. Look how cute I look. Yes, ma'am, Pam. Thank you ladies so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.